Okay, so again, for our next presentation, I want to welcome back somebody onto the stage. This is Naheed Chowdhry, who was on one of our panels earlier. So Naheed is a global business leader with 18 years of experience, as well as a published author, entrepreneur, and mother. She grew up as a marketer in classical consumer companies like Unilever, Grubel, and Hershey, leading global teams and using traditional and new millennium approaches to strategy and execution to drive growth. Naheed recently founded Rainmaker Consulting, which provides clients with a veteran experience and knowledge of a virtual board. Naheed often taps her 4 children as creative soundboards. During her spare time, Naheed also enjoys writing and writing. So in addition to blogging, she recently authored a young adult novel for Bubble Kids, which you can find at bubblekids.com, which received rave reviews from Clarion and Kogas. Please welcome back to the stage, Naheed.
Can everyone hear me? Yes, you can. I must say I was tempted to make a dash for it because I realize I'm the only thing that stands between you and the end of the conference. And I'm really sorry in advance, but I have no beautiful videos or ads that we've been seeing, and I don't have many pictures. But what I do have is, for you, a lot of bullet points, my American friend, I'd like to share a collective set of learnings that have come from my partners, myself, and some of the people that we work with. Basically, that no digitalization there's no one size fits all, it has to be catered. So I hope whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an SME leader or a leader in a larger organization, you find this useful. All right. That scary looking curve is a conceptual curve that McKinsey has developed, and it basically shows where digital disruption began early. Many companies have already disappeared, and that's particularly true for industries like media, where online media comes in and kicks in, and for other industries like food, that comes in slower. It's a general product trend, so you have new trends that come in. In the industries like media, if you're an early adopter and you have time, you've caught on, you live, you survive. But if you don't tap into the digitization trend soon enough, along with the rest of the industry, you exit. And building on from there, this is a snapshot of executives who anticipate that there's going to be a lot of change by industry. Media, of course, is the first one that comes to mind, but there are a few surprises in there. For example, there is retail, there is education in there, and pretty much everybody you can tell is going to be affected by digitization in the next 12 months. And this is massive change. This is not just going with the trend and moving along. So has anyone ever felt like that yet? Panicked with the sense of how fast our world is becoming digital? Can I have a show of hands on anyone who's ever been there in that position with that look? Yeah, we've all been there. We've had people come to us for help and say, we need a digital strategy today, right now. And it doesn't work that way. So I'll take you through some myths and some must-dos, because digitization at the end of the day is just a tool. And let me take you through some of the details. So no, you won't die without a digitization strategy. So often when people talk about this, there are scary stories. There are stories of how Amazon devoured Sears. There are stories of how Napster died and Pixelon. But at the heart is always the need for an effective business strategy. Digitization at the end of the day is just an empowering tool. It cannot replace the mind, the consumer insights, telling a story, understanding the consumer and having a sound business strategy. It's a tool at the end of the day that should help you build your business. It cannot do it on its own. We all have to become experts in digital. No, we don't. There are some organizations, and I'm sure if you think about it as well, you'll find a few in your vicinity, where people start to panic and they feel that it is important to develop an internal software. We talked about apps. There was a figure like 73% of apps are not opened, or some really ridiculous figure like that. There's no need to develop an app if your business is not at that stage. The innovation app that I referred to earlier as a panelist, that was the size of company, that was the size of business. But the worst thing that an organization can do, and which we advise our clients as well, is to digitize for the sake of doing that. We have a third myth, which is that you can digitalize one part of the company and leave the other parts alone. You can't talk about digital, first of all, without talking about its lifeblood, which is data. And data is part of a culture, and it means that we have to set aside, data is what gives you the power to make strategic decisions. We have to set aside that general feel, gut feel, or going with emotions in decision making. Consumers, yes, emotion leads to action. In business, that's something that will, it'll kill the business in the long term. Commitment from the board level down. And again, we talked about this earlier. It's not just marketing, it's not just IT. It has to be built into the core strategy of the business. However, and you must be thinking, great, maybe digitization is not that important. But ultimately, we all know it drives profound changes. It's changing the world. It's about transactions. It's about networks. It's about data and opportunities. It's transforming business models, organizations, cultures. It's transforming the medical field. It's transforming education. So you can't not be there. So what do? Is there any model that we get to? So these are a few pointers that we've put together, and some may resonate with you and some may not, but we believe that broadly this is the arena that if you bear in mind, these would help. And let me just go straight to that. Be unreasonable with targets. If you're a leader, it's important that your organization is jarred. Some people set aspirations of digital delivering market share growth. Others set it directly related to revenue. Whether it seems realistic or not, it doesn't matter. You have to jar the organization into realizing that digital is here to stay, and it's about delivering, it's about aiming higher than you've ever aimed before. Blending the old with the new. A lot of leading companies are frequently looking to other organizations to recruit talent, and you have to understand that you're not going to have the same collective talent in your existing workforce. The workforce will have to evolve. We talked about millennials. Hot on the heels of the millennials comes Generation Z, which is where my digital immigrants live. This is a completely different breed. They've grown up with digital. I have a 3-year-old who, before she could learn to read, she could figure out the most difficult passcode on my iPhone. It's scary. I was like, are you 3? Are you 30? What? So it has to be a mix in order to be successful and sustainably successful in a digital world. It has to be a mix of talent. It's not just us. It has to be people that you recruit from external adjacent industries. Challenging everything, and this is about asking why. Assume that there is some competitor somewhere who's asking exactly the same thing. If you're a successful business, there's someone somewhere who's asking, why can we not do it easier? Why can we not do it better? It's about looking forward, thinking 2-3 years ahead, 5 years ahead, and seeing how you're going to form alliances. How are you going to connect with e-commerce? How are you going to, how are you going to live? If your company doesn't have the capability to do that, who are you going to pair up with to do this? And we know about Domino Pizzas and drones. We know about Amazon and drones. I can cite from our own experience that Hershey has paired up with Amazon to delve into e-commerce with chocolate, which seems quite ridiculous, but it gives them a value chain, it gives them a distributor system that they can leverage to deliver the chocolate. Cultivating the habit of being quick and data-driven, and this goes back to an earlier point, rapid decision-making that is data-based. It's incredibly critical that data is translated and put into a system where you can understand it, and that's what drives rapid decision-making. So It's, for example, we've got Procter & Gamble, which has a single analytics portal. It's called the Decision Cockpit, and that offers up-to-date sales data across brands, products, markets across the world, so that you can immediately, anywhere, any of the 50,000 employees globally can pick it up and make decisions fast. It's about finding the right revenue. So again, touched on this a little earlier, but it's not just about generating more sales through consumers. It's about efficiencies in cost. It's about streamlining your internal processes, making them more efficient, making them faster. Another mistake that a lot of organizations make, and that we've seen and we've stopped some of our clients from making, is that they want to experiment with spreading digital, and they believe it's at the front, at the client level. No, it has a much bigger impact if you take it to the back office to streamline your staffing, your recruiting, maybe your submission of medical expenses, the innovation funnel that I talked about earlier. It's about zeroing in on what works for you in your business. It's about being obsessed with the customer. At the end of the day, customers today, we've spoiled them. We've made them more intolerant of a bad experience. I was recently reading a statistic that said that in the GCC, and this was from a study done by Northwestern University in Qatar, and they surveyed the GCC, and they found that today 50% of internet users in the UAE regularly post comments online, 70% in Saudi, and that's far above the global average of about 38%. We know what word of mouth, good or bad, does for our products and services. Imagine this. So that it's not just, the word of mouth is something that can make or break you, and if somebody is simply having a bad day and posted a bad comment about your product or service, you're still gone. So with customers becoming more and more you could say less and less accepting of experiences, it's really important that we go beyond what's normal and into the extraordinary. They want a seamless, they want an integrated experience, they want the same experience, they want to have the same story, if you will, told to them that they hear maybe on TV or see on YouTube, and that follows them into the store. It can't be two different pictures. Finally, so this was just a short list of tips that I wanted to share with you. The only thing the moral of the story is that one size doesn't fit all, but you have to begin somewhere, and the only thing not to do would be not to make any changes at all. So just wanted to share those as a wind up to the whole day, and hope that some of that has been useful for you to take away. Thank you.